Guys, welcome back to another video on this channel, and today we're gonna talk about the okay guys welcome back to another video on this channel, and today we're gonna talk about number sequences specifically relating to the O-levels syllabus. So in the O-level syllabus we have two main types of sequences. One is your arithmetic sequences, right, or arithmetic progressions or arithmetic series. They all mean the same thing. And the other is your geometric progressions or geometric series or anything. So it's, you have a lot of different names for this, but the basic concept remains the same. So the main difference between these two series or progressions is that in the arithmetic series the difference is constant. Okay? The difference between, I'll write this in a bit more detail, consecutive terms is constant, right? And in the geometric series the difference is not constant. Okay? Is not constant. And so let me give you an example first of the arithmetic progression. So I'll write AP right here. Okay? So you're usually given a term-to-term sequence in these types of questions, and you have to do something based upon that sequence. So they usually give you the first 3, 4 or 5 terms of the sequence. So let's say I have 2, 4, 6, 8 and so on so forth. So let's just label them really quickly. This is my first term, this is my second term, this is my third term, this is my fourth term, and so on so forth, right? And we can see here that the difference between 2 and 4 is positive 2, right? Difference between 4 and 6 is again positive 2. The difference between 6 and 8 is again positive 2. So we can say safely that this sequence is an arithmetic sequence for sure. Arithmetic sequence. So this is an arithmetic sequence, we know that, right? So we can say that the difference is equal to 2, okay? Because that every time every consecutive term is being added by 2 to get the next term, right? And so we can say agar humne fifth term nikalni hai, if we want to find the fifth term, what we're going to have to do is we're just going to have to add 2 to 8. So 8 plus 2 is 10. Then again we can add 2 to 10, which is 12, and then 14, 16, 18, 20, so on and so forth. Okay? So what I've done here is basically called the term-to-term sequence. So if you're given the fourth term and you want to find the fifth term, you're going to add the difference to the previous term. Alright, so this was the term-to-term sequence. Now we're going to move on to the nth term. And I'll explain what the nth term really is in a minute. Like first I just want you to get to know the formula. So the nth term we can write this as Tn, where n is in the subscript a plus bracket n minus 1 into d. Okay? And now I'll explain to you what each of these things are. So Tn, as you know, is the term that you want to find. Okay? A is the first term of the sequence. First term. N is number of the term. And D is just the difference between two consecutive terms. So over here the difference was 2, right? And so if I want to find the nth term for this sequence of 2, 4, 6, 8, I'll just say that Tn is equal to A and a is going to be 2 because that's our first term, plus n minus 1 for the time being, we'll write it as it is, into d, and the difference is 2, right? And now we can expand everything out. We can say 2 plus 2n minus 2, so this cancels, that cancels, so our nth term is equal to 2n. So what exactly is the nth term? So let's say you have these first four terms, right? And the question says find the 50th term. You're not going to keep on adding 2 to every term. You're not going to keep on adding 2. In fact, what you're going to do is you're going to find the nth term for this sequence. That's going to be really helpful when you want to find a large term. Okay? So if you want to find the 50th term, let's say, so what the only thing that you have to do is substitute n with 50. So the 50th term of this sequence is gonna be 100. And in fact ये हम इधर जो है tn नहीं लिखेंगे, we're gonna write t of 50. So the 50th term is equal to 100. ठीक है? Okay, so now we're gonna start with our geometric progression, because for now the arithmetic progression stuff has been dealt with. Geometric progression. And so here I wanna let you guys know into a formula. So the nth term, so I'm going directly into the nth term here. So the nth term is, शुरू का पार्ट वही रहेगा, a plus n minus 1 into d, and इधर subscript में I add a 1 here. I let you know why. Plus d 2 over 2 into n minus 1 into n minus 2. Okay, so this might seem like a really daunting formula, but it actually isn't that bad. So this is what we're gonna be using, right? So if I have a sequence which is if I have a sequence which says it's 5, 8, 13 and then 20, we can see that the difference is not a common difference. The difference is not constant, therefore this cannot be AP. It has to be GP, or it is also known as a quadratic sequence. So different जगहों पे you're gonna get to know about different names. Quadratic sequence, right? And so first let's find out the difference, because as we know the difference is not constant, so we're gonna have to find the difference on our own. So the difference between 5 and 8 is positive 3. The difference between 8 and 13 is positive 5. The difference between 13 and 20 is positive 7. ठीक है? And so now look closely, we have another sequence right here. And this sequence is an arithmetic sequence. Why? Because the difference is constant. And so we can see that 3 and 5 ka difference is positive 2, and 5 and 7 ka difference is again positive 2, and every other term will also be positive 2 ka difference. And this is why this is an arithmetic progression. So see how we've converted a geometric progression into an arithmetic progression. That's amazing. And so we can see that this column, this row, right? This row is D1 and the next row is D2. Okay? So for now I'll just circle this number and this number, because this will be used later on. And so now to find the nth term, I'm gonna put everything into this formula right here, right? So let's do this in green. So t of n is equal to a, which is 5 because 5 is the first term, into 5 plus n minus 1, and d1 is positive 3, so 3, plus d2 is 2. So d1 में you guys can see that the difference is different, लेकिन you're gonna use the first difference between the first two terms, ठीक है? And then second difference should be constant, क्योंकि इससे ज़्यादा हमारे syllabus में है नहीं. So d2 is 2 over 2 into n minus 1 into n minus 2, right? And so now let's just start simplifying stuff, cancelling stuff. So this is your nth term for this sequence. Achha, and one more thing that I want you guys to look at, that they've given you the first 4 terms of this sequence right here, right? If they ask you to find the 5th term, do not do all of this stuff. Just do the simple thing and we can see a kind of pattern forming. So 3, 5, 7, the next difference will be 9, right? And so we can say that the difference between 20 and the next term is going to be positive 9. So the next term is going to be 29 because 20 plus 9 is 29, and 29 is going to be your 5th term. And we can actually double check this right here by substituting this into this formula. So the 5th term, so t of 5 is going to be equal to 5 square plus 4. 5 square is 25, 25 plus 4 is 29. And so this is our correct nth term for the sequence. So let's do another example. Let's say we have a sequence named -1 to 7, 14, and then so on and so forth, right? And so I want you guys to find this term and this term. I'll give you a second to do that. If you couldn't, that's also fine. We can just do this the thoda sa long way. So we can see that we first start with the first difference between these two numbers. So the difference here is going to be positive 3. The difference here is going to be positive 5. The difference here is going to be positive 7, and so on and so forth. So because this is not constant, we can safely say that this is a geometrical progression. And over here we can see that there's some kind of pattern being followed here. So every time the difference is being jumped up by 2, similar to what we saw in this equation right here. And so here we can see, हम कह सकते हैं कि 14 and the next term का difference will be positive 9. And so 14 plus 9 is gonna be 23, and then we can say that this 23 का difference with the next term is gonna be positive 11. So that's gonna be 34. But what if they ask you to find out the 10th term of the sequence? You can't really do this that easily, right? Yeah, chalo 10th bhi nahi. If they ask you to do the 15th term of the sequence, that's going to be really difficult, right? And so this is where the nth term formula comes into play. Okay, so right here we can see we need to find the second difference now. So this was d1, right? So now we need to find the second difference. So the second difference find karne ka tarika is very easy. We just see the difference between 3 and 5, which is positive 2. Do this again for 5 and 7, which is again positive 2. Do this again, positive 2. Do this again, positive 2. And we understand कि आगे भी ऐसे ही होगा. So this is going to be D2, right? And so what we can see is we can circle this term and this term because this is going to be handy later on. And in fact, we can also circle this term because this is also going to be handy. So term Tn is equal to A. A is -1. So -1 plus n minus 1 into D. D1 is going to be positive 3. 3 plus D2, which is 2 again. 2 over 2 into n minus 1 into n minus 2. Okay. And so now we can just start simplifying again. -1 plus 3 n minus 3, this cancels out into plus n square minus n minus 2n plus 2. Okay, and we can simplify this further. So this cancels, and obviously I'm cancelling this is just coincidence at this time. So -1, -3, -4, -4 plus 2 is -2. And this is our term-to-term sequence for this question. And we can double check this by putting this into a value that we already know. So 14 is our fourth term, right? So let's try putting n is equal to 4. So we say, I'll write this in red, t of 4 is equal to 4 square minus 2. So t of 4 is going to be 16 minus 2, which is 14. And let's see if 14 is the fourth term. Yes, it is. Here it is. And so we know that this is the correct equation for this. And that's it for this video. Next video I'll do some past papers for you guys so that you guys get a better grip on this. And if you like this video, do consider subscribing and liking and all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Allah Hafiz.